Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our webinar on the Kickstart Scheme. And I have to say, very hot off the press, this one. Just a few introductions to everybody who'll be here today with you. So we've got myself and Victoria, who will be the main presenters today. Victoria will be the key one, the lead presenter. And a team will also be in the background to help with any technical issues that you may have. Hopefully none, but just in case you do, she's there in the background. This is the agenda we plan to cover. Thankfully, we're able to cover the applying for the scheme details now. It was all published yesterday, so we have updated it, and I've got as much information as we could possibly find. So, because there's a number of you on the call today, we have had to mute you all. However, we do want you to ask questions. So the way you do this is you should have a chat panel that looks a little bit like this. Type in your question and then we will try and answer any of them at the end of the webinar. Just so you know, we need to make sure that you, just so you know, we just need to make sure that you don't have your panel in full screen mode, otherwise you won't be able to take part in any of our polls later on. We have got a few for you at the end. Okay, thank you. So now I'm going to hand over to Victoria, who will take you through the main part of the presentation.
Thank you, Sue. Let's just
switching over to you now.
Brilliant. There we go, let's share the screen. Brilliant. Okay, well, welcome everybody and thank you for joining us this morning. And like Sue says, we've got information that's hot off the press, so it's brilliant that we can give you some further detail today. So I'm going to begin the webinar by talking high level first about the actual plan for jobs 2020, just to put everything into context for everybody. So as we know, COVID-19 is the biggest threat the UK has faced in decades, and as was communicated the other week, the UK is now in a recession. To date, the government have introduced many measures that have helped various sectors of the economy, such as the Job Retention Scheme, which is also known as furlough, as well as providing various grants and loans for business. And these measures came about in phase 1 of the government's plan for jobs. And that plan for jobs aims to support the UK's short and long-term recovery. And then on the 8th of July, the Chancellor gave further details about the recovery plan and confirmed a move to phase 2, which focuses on how young people can get into work and how they need help. The Kickstart Scheme is just one of those measures, and that's obviously what we're talking about in today's webinar. And we have been waiting since the 8th of July for the detail around the actual application of the scheme and how it works. So I am pleased that we've now got that information to talk through with you today. And then finally, just before we move on, just wanted to acknowledge that the plan for jobs does have a third phase, and details of which will be announced in the autumn. If you wanted to have a look more at the detail behind this plan for jobs 2020, then I've noted the website here on the slide, and it will just it's a link to the government's publication. So I'm going to now explain the actual Kickstart Scheme for everybody. So the Kickstart Scheme is about recognising that the young are particularly vulnerable as a result of COVID, and they are considered to be the highest risk of long-term unemployment, which is really down to the fact that they've got limited skills and experience just because they've not long out of school, university. The government will therefore support the young people to build the skills that they need to get into long-term work. And that's what they'll do by the Kickstart Scheme. So it's about funding the direct creation of high quality jobs for young people that are aged between 16 and 24. And the aim of the scheme is to give young people the chance to build their confidence, build workplace skills, build on the experience, all of which will help improve their chances of going on to find long-term sustainable work. So the Kickstart scheme is, I guess, a short-term initiative, but ultimately it's about thinking long-term for the young people. And what we know now from the latest detail published yesterday, as I said, the scheme is for people aged 16 to 24, and it's for those who are on universal credit. And so effectively, they are the people who are deemed to be at risk of long-term unemployment. The government will pay employers to create that high quality employment for 6-month placements. The funding will be for 25 hours per week at an appropriate national minimum wage level, obviously depending on the age of the individual. But they will also pay the associated employer national insurance contributions, as well as the employer minimum automatic enrolment pension contributions. The employer can top up the wages and can offer more hours than the 25, but obviously being liable for those extra hours. They, in the detail that came out yesterday, it's actually been very clear to say that job placements must not either replace existing or planned vacancies, and they should not cause existing employees or contractors to lose or reduce their employment. And so it is really a scheme specifically that focuses on how you can upskill and build the experience of that young person. And finally, they also noted yesterday in the guidance that the young person should not be required to undertake extensive training before they begin. Now, yesterday was the detail that came through about the application, how you go about applying for the scheme. And what the government have done is launched a new online portal. So that's been developed where the employer submits the applications. However, what we found out yesterday is that when you submit an application, it has to be for at least 30 placements. So this is quite surprising when we read this, and actually what we're understanding the situation to be is that for those employers who have fewer than 30 placements, they must partner with other organisations or representatives so that they can all come together to put through their applications. So those that they can partner with would be similar employers, local authorities, trade bodies and registered charities. And Business HR Solutions, I know, are approaching our Northamptonshire local chamber and other membership bodies just to see how we can offer support in finding other employers who wish to take part and sort of help connect people. There is some guidance from the government that they've set out on how you can find out becoming a representative, or how you can also find a representative. So that's, I guess, the interesting piece that came out yesterday and was a surprise to us all, I think, because I guess that will perhaps be quite a challenge for, small employers where, they're not going to be needing or wanting 30 placements in one go. So there's going to be a lot of collaboration working on between business, which, at the end of the day is a good thing. Employers can also contact their local job centre employer partnership team for help as well on getting a representative, and I've when you get the copy of the slides, there'll be a link to these. So what we also found out yesterday is that when you apply, there will be a certain amount of detail that you'll need to submit, and that will be around telling the government how you are going to help the individual to develop their skills, their experience, how you're going to support their search for long-term employment opportunities, how you can support them with their goal setting and helping with some career advice, as well as providing that advice on developing a CV for them, as well as how to prepare and go for an interview. And I guess from a practical perspective, what it is also encouraging is around how you can develop their practical skills, such as, communication in the workplace, work ethics like good timekeeping, good attendance, and team working. So as I said a moment ago, the government are really wanting this scheme to focus on how we can help young people sustain long-term employment. It's not just about resource for businesses, it's about focusing on the young people and actually giving them specific support, training, coaching for this 6-month placement to help them kickstart their careers. In terms of the applications, once they're submitted, they will be reviewed by a panel just to ensure that they meet the criteria. Now, we don't know an awful lot about that criteria, and whether they'll give clarity on that, you know, who knows, but essentially it will be assessed by a panel, and they will aim to give a response to you within that 1 month. Once the scheme, the grant has been approved, then you will be required to provide job descriptions. And within these job descriptions, you are going to also need to set out what the candidates will need to do when it comes to applying for the position. And in terms of the recruitment side of things, then you will then be contacted by the young people who have been matched to the job placement. So you can then conduct your selection process just as you would in any other recruitment campaign. So it sounds like it's going to be very much controlled or coordinated, organised with the help of Department for Work and Pensions, you know, the job centre, especially as we know that it's focusing on those people that are on universal credit. So the young people will be put into contact via that route, I would imagine. Now, in terms of the funds, what we know now as well, we've had some further information. So as an employer, you can receive £1,500 for each job placement, and that is to cover the setup costs, training and support. There's also £300 that can become available if you act as a representative and therefore apply for the placements on behalf of a group of employers. So this links into the fact that you need to have 30 applications going through, for 30 placements going through, and only one employer submits those applications. In terms of the initial setup costs, these will be paid once you've confirmed that a young person has started working for you and is on your payroll. And the Department for Work and Pensions will use the HMRC information to check the young person is still employed and will pay the grant in arrears. And what's also important, and this links into what I was saying a moment ago, that it really is a focused scheme that really is about getting people the coaching, the experience, the skills. DWP may also contact the young person during their placement to check what support has been provided to them in supporting their employment. So they really are wanting to make sure that these, you know, the young people are put through a 6-month placement that really focuses on developing them and setting them off on their career. We understand that there's going to be further support available when the Kickstart scheme ends, but we don't know what that is as yet. We know that back on the 8th of July, at the same time as communicating the Kickstart scheme, they also mentioned around they were focusing, or they're going to be focusing on apprenticeships and traineeships. So I suspect perhaps this may be the piece that may continue after the Kickstart scheme. As I say, we don't have the exact details yet, but just as a reminder, what they said on the 8th of July is that for those apprentices, you know, the government are already paying £1,000 for those employees who take apprentices on, but they're going to be making further payments to employers if they continue to hire apprentices. And what they said on the 8th of July was around £2,000 for each apprentice under the age of 25 and £1,500 for each apprentice that was aged 25 and above. So that perhaps may be something that comes out on the back of the Kickstart scheme. And they also indicated on the 8th of July that they are looking at traineeships where high quality placements and training for 16 to 24-year-olds, where funding will be provided to the employers of £1,000 per trainee. So as I said, we don't have the full detail, but we do suspect that further clarification will be coming over the coming months. And we know that they did talk about phase 3 being communicated in the autumn, so perhaps that may be when they come out with further updates. and guidance. So you know, as soon as we get information, we'll obviously let everybody know, and no doubt we'll be running further webinars on that. So it'll be interesting to see what comes through in the next few weeks and months. So I'm going to hand over to Sue, because we're just going to run a few polls before we see if any questions have come in. So Sue, can I ask you to help with the polls?
You can, yes. Thank you, Victoria. So we've just got 3 short polls for you. Hopefully you will have the option in your chat panel. You should have the option to vote as soon as I launch the poll. So the first one we're going to ask you is, do you think the Kickstart scheme will help your business? So I'm just launched that now, so I'll give you a few minutes to respond. A couple more minutes. Okay, nearly everybody's voted. I'm going to close that poll now, and I'll share the results with you. So it's quite close, actually.
Oh yeah.
42% yes, it will, and 58% no. So that's pretty close, actually. We weren't sure what the take-up will be. I guess the government aren't at the moment. We just felt that 30 placement minimum means there's quite a lot of work for small employers to go out and find a representative or find local employers in a similar situation to join together, or try and persuade their local chamber or their local job centre to help them with this. So it is quite a bit extra work on top of the work you have to put into the placement itself, isn't it?
Yeah, I can see it putting perhaps some businesses off, can't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to ask you another one now, which is, do you see your organisation acting as a representative to process applications? So i.e., do you want to be the representative organisation? Yes, this could be if you've already got a good number yourself and you want to try and persuade some local businesses to join with you. It's having the capacity, isn't it, to administer it as well. Everybody's voted now, just about. Close
See what the result is.
Let's share the answer with you. Wow. Not surprised with that one, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, we equally ourselves don't really want to be a representative, but we are talking to the local chamber to see if they're going to be prepared to do it. So as soon as we know, if we find people we know who are prepared, we will be sharing it with you all anyway.
Yeah.
So there's one final poll for you, and this one is, do you think the scheme could have the potential for your business taking on younger employees longer term? So just launch that one for you. I think everybody's just about voted on that one. I'm going to close that one and share the results. That's good.
That's good, yeah.
62%. Really good. Yeah.
That's really positive.
Which is the intention of the scheme itself. So that's pretty good, actually. Yeah, really interesting. So let me just hide that, and I'm going to move it back to me while we move on to. I don't think we've had any questions from this, which is hardly surprising because it's new to all of us, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you want to move the slide on for me?
Yeah. Sorry, Sue.
Okay, so we've not got any questions. So just to let you know, we are working in the background. We worked very hard yesterday in trying to see what we can do to help employers with this, because clearly it's a lot, and it's come very quickly as the Parliament reopened. So if you wish to advertise any such placements that qualify for the Kickstart scheme, then we are offering a 30% reduction in our fixed fee recruitment campaigns, which covers actually all the admin around recruiting for you. You can advertise, it's per campaign, so it doesn't matter if you recruited 30 people from that one campaign, it's still that fixed fee. So it's quite cost effective, and it does go on all the main jobs boards. The other things we're looking at is supporting with the career counselling side of it. We are currently putting together a package where we could provide that support and training in CV writing, in interview skills, in all those kind of office-based skills of attendance, time management, team building, things like that. We can look at some kind of support during the placement. And we're also, as I say, looking to find representatives that we can make you aware of that might help you get on board with this. So we're trying to do as much as we can to get on board. I think that's everything on that one.
Okay, let's move the slide.
So finally, if you do think of any questions afterwards, then you can always come to us on the inquiries at hrsolutions-uk.com. More than happy to help, or call us on our main number. Victoria and I will be happy to field any questions that you might have. And as I say, we'll probably be running an update in due course if there's any more developments or any more information that's released on this. Thank you. As always, we welcome your feedback. So if you do want to send us any feedback, we would be really interested to hear that, whether it's suggestions for topics for the future, or whether there is anything that you thought we could have done better, or we could improve on, then we would be glad to hear it. We have got a few upcoming webinars. This is just taking us till the end of October. For those of you who haven't spotted, this week we added a couple of health and safety at work. We have a new consultant that's joined us who's developing our health and safety division, and he is delivering one on the working environment during COVID times and one on statutory compliance in the next couple of months. So sign up in the usual routes for those. And we've put in some more that we hope will help during this current challenging period on working with and managing young people on the back of the Kickstart and the apprenticeships and the training support, and also on survivor syndrome, how to support your employees in an ongoing manner. The conflict resolution is proving extremely popular. We have several hundred people who've already signed up for that. So there's no limit on the spaces, so I think we've got 1,000, so we're okay for a bit yet. And then we've slotted in a Brexit one in October, and in November we're going to look at the new right to work and points-based system for immigration. So yeah, a lot, and we'll be inserting more during October and November as we progress. So don't forget to register through the normal channels, either through our main website, or if you have access to our knowledge base, you can register through there, and we'll look forward to meeting you again. We have, as usual, we have a newsletter. If you're not already signed up to it, we will then keep you abreast of any changes as they happen, but we will also give you information about our future events. We have a webinar archive as well, so all of these webinars are recorded, and a copy of the slides and the recording will be posted on our website on the knowledge base, and will be made available to all those of you who've registered for today's webinar as well. And finally, if you did want some support, we have a fixed fee package on helping you build a plan to rebuild your business post-COVID. This is not just the physical return to the workplace, but this is actually in any restructuring, in any kind of short to medium term and even longer term plans for rebuilding and growing your business. So we can help with that should you be interested. Just remains for me to say thank you. Thank you to Victoria for leading the presentation today. Thank you to all of you for attending, and we look forward to speaking to you soon.
Thank you, everybody.